Welcome everybody to Life, Liberty, and Loaded. Today we're going to be looking at a number of 308 and 762 by 51 rounds and compare them and see how they stack up against each other in the SCAR 20S. Stay tuned. So we got a pretty good lineup of ammunition to take a look at today. Going from left to right, we've got the Federal M118 175 grain and the Precision Hunter 178 grain by Hornady. We got the Hornady Match 178 grain. We have the Black Hills 175 grain, and we have the IMI 175 grain. And then on the very end, we have the Federal 175 grain. So a lot of 175s for that long range shot. So how are we going to test these things? As a video, this is actually going to be a series. And the first thing we're going to do, obviously, is do the chrono at the muzzle. We're going to get some velocity readings on there because it kind of all starts from there as far as building out your dope sheet and just, seeing what generally speaking, how these things might perform. From there, I'm going to take the top three, not including the M118, because that's kind of been the one I've been using, the top 2 or 3. And from there, we're going to take them out to 730 and then 1,000 and see how consistently these rounds can come in, on a cold barrel, on a hot barrel, and just kind of see where everything stacks up at. And from there, we're going to take, once again, the top 3 rounds, and then I'm going to do some ballistic testing at probably around 50 yards. And to see, if there's one round that we can come up with that, is affordable, which would be nice, is, very accurate, it's consistent, and then ultimately, what kind of ballistics can we get out of this thing? Obviously, if you're shooting paper, your ballistics don't matter quite as much. But, if you want to go hunting with it or whatnot, or use it for self-defense, it'd be good to know these kind of things because it's, even the cheapest ammo here is very expensive for sure, especially if you're used to just shooting 5.56 and whatnot. But yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be digging into over the next couple of videos, and I hope it goes pretty well. So first up, we have the Winchester M118 long range. We're just going to be doing a small group on the bottom side of my target here. Just trying to get some velocity readings. 3 shots. These shooting benches are a little bit tight. Can't really get into a good position, but we'll see how it goes here. So I started off by using the M118 long range. That also works well, obviously, in the M110. I think those two were developed alongside each other. And so it seemed like an appropriate round for this, given that this thing is chambered in 7.62 by 51. So I started off with that, and yeah, it's actually been a really, really great round for it. There are a few outliers. There's, obviously it's a factory loaded cartridge, but nevertheless, it's been really good. Everything out from 100 yards out to 1,000. So I was really impressed with just using that one round and just seeing how capable it was. After a while, after shooting this out to 1,000 a number of times, I got to the point I said, is there anything that might be better than that? Believe it or not, the actual most accurate round I have up here is the Black Hills 308 175 grain right here. The reason why it's not super high on the list of things I want to land on is the cost. It's $2.50 a round, really expensive. I had to try it. It's amazing. You know, it groups them in real tight, but man, that was really expensive. But nevertheless, I'm going to buy this round again when we start comparing these out, you know, further out at 750 and 1,000, because I want to see, with that being kind of the star of the show, like how the rest of these stack up, including the M118 that I've been using so much of. So here we go with the 178 grain match from Hornady. Load it up and see how it goes. We're just going to be doing a 3-shot group. I'm kind of conserving on ammo here. I only have 20 rounds each, but this first set here, we're just checking the velocity ratings on it. Nice recoil on there. Feels good. Okay, so here we go. We're going to try to do 5-shot group in the upper right circle there. Okay, so next up on the chopping block was the Hornady Match 178 grain. It came in at 2583 average and standard deviation of 13.2. Not too bad. A couple things I like to point out, it's a very nice looking round, looks very well made looking, but the primers don't have any sealant on them. Not a huge deal, but I thought I'd mention it. The other thing I was going to point out too is it's actually a little bit shorter than the M118. As I've been doing this, I've been measuring the length of the cartridge basically from the base of the case all the way up to the tip. And this comes in at 2.804. And I noticed that the M118 is 2.814. So another 10,000ths of an inch shorter than that. I'm not a loader or anything, but I do know that can affect your accuracy. Maybe some of you loaders can chime in on that and kind of fill us in on, you know, how that can change performance. But I definitely noticed that on the Black Hills, like the accuracy of it was just incredible right off the bat. And so I took a couple notes on that and just how the thing was set up. But anyways, on to the next round. We'll see how it goes. Okay, here we go. 3 shots with the Precision Hunter 178 grain. And once again, we're just doing a quick group and getting some velocity numbers. Nice recoil impacts on that one too. Next up, we've got a really special one. This thing is sick. It's the Hornady Precision Hunter round, 178 grain. It came in at an average of 2607 and a standard deviation of 17.7. It measures the length from base of the case to the tip of 2.802. But this is a pretty amazing round. So it's got a match profile style bullet, but it's got what they call the heat shield tip. And so at impacts beyond 400 yards, this helps peel back and mushroom out the tip of the bullet. I mean, that's pretty cool. Of course, I haven't actually tried it out on this yet at that range, but if it does what they're claiming to, the other cool thing too is it lands in the same spot as my M118 at 100 yards. I'll be showing that later on in the video, but that was really exciting to see. Nice type group. Recoil felt great. I mean, this thing is awesome, at least for this thing. But I'm really looking forward to getting that out to that 730 and 1000 and see how it does. But next round coming up. 3 shots. And we got everything running, so let's do it. All right. Yeah, here we go. So with this IMI, I can already feel it's a I don't want to say underpowered, but you can feel that the bolt carrier slowed down for sure. I can feel it in the upper, but yeah, okay, let's see how it goes here. Next shot. A little low. So up next, we got the IMI 7.62 by 51, 175 grain. And it came in at a 2537 with that average 3-shot group, a standard deviation of 14.1. And I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was a little bit disappointing. I was surprised to see that this round was running that slow. As far as IMI goes, I don't know if you guys shoot a lot of it, but the green tip that they do is pretty spicy. It's pretty good stuff. And I was expecting the same kind of performance out of this 7.62 by 51 stuff, but to see it kind of run the bolt really slow and just the velocity numbers it gave, it was sort of a surprise to me. Yeah, and so comparing the Winchester M118 to the IMI, there was 104 feet per second difference on the average 3 shots. That's quite a bit. There, the interesting thing too is that it measures out at 2.788. So we're talking 2.788 from end to end. So the rounds set a lot deeper in the casing. I don't know if that's like the lot or if it's just how they make it or what was going on. But yeah, I was, a bit surprised about that. The primers are sealed on this one, so that's kind of nice to see. But as far as the overall performance of it, I thought it came in a little bit short. So next up, I'd like to talk about the Black Hills 175 grain open tip match. This stuff is awesome. Starting from the bottom, we've got sealed primers. The brass looks great. The bullet looks great. The tips are trimmed. The velocity came in at 2627 and a standard deviation of 19.9. And the groups are super tight. That was like the amazing thing. And the recoil on this was really, really good too. So the M118 has got a really nice, you could tell something's going on there. The IMI is kind of like sluggish, like limp lettuce or something like that. So this stuff here is kind of in between. I don't know if it's how fast the powder's burning and stuff. Like I say, I'm not a loader, so I don't know all the minute details of this, but this thing felt great. It shot great. Yeah, I can't wait to get it out to that. Once again, we're definitely going to buy this again. We're going to bring it out to the 730 and 1,000 yard and see how it stacks up against everything else. But I'm really looking forward to this. Now, I really don't have a bad thing to say about it, honestly, other than the price. So yeah, there you go. So last but definitely not least is the Federal Gold Medal Match. And I know, reading online, watching a lot of videos and stuff like this, I know this is near and dear to many people's hearts because they've talked great things about it. So first of all, I want to point out, yes, these primers are also sealed. And, I keep talking about sealed primers, but it's just sort of a nice touch, right? If you want to store this for a while, it's going to be in harsh environments. It's nice to have that feature to them. So how did it perform in my SCAR? So the average velocity was 2573 with a standard deviation of 10.6. The standards looking pretty good. The velocity was a little bit on the low end, but the groups are really nice. And it shot well too. No issues with the bolt slowing down like soggy lettuce. It shot really well. I really don't have too much to complain about in regards to that. So in conclusion, how did it come down? Like what rounds are going to make it, what rounds aren't? So first of all, I wanted to say that my decision wasn't based off any kind of quality control or I thought any of these rounds were bad or anything like that. pretty much everything here is a decent quality cartridge, right? And really, it came down to velocity. One thing I didn't mention earlier was, one of the things I was looking for was about 2,600 feet per second or better. So on our SCAR 20S, we've got a 20-inch cold hammer forged chrome line barrel, 20-inch. And on top of that, we've got another 7 inches of suppressor on there. And, between all that, we should be getting some pretty good velocity numbers out of that. Like, it doesn't get much better other than maybe like a 24-inch bolt gun. So, that was kind of a loose criteria I was looking for. And with the IMI, it just kind of fell short in the velocity numbers. The second one, unfortunately, was the Federal Gold Medal Match. That also kind of fell short with the numbers I was looking for. It was, both these rounds are really well manufactured, and both the ones here I mentioned, have sealed primers, and everything looked great on it, except for just that velocity. And that's something we're really going to need when we get out to the 800 to 1,000 yard shot. So that's pretty much my conclusion on this, and that's the 2 rounds that didn't quite make it. So most shooters with good ammunition, good rifle, and a good shooter should be able to hit targets between 500 to 600 yards with 308 fairly consistently. Somewhere between that 550 to 600 yards and, let's say, 800 yards. Maybe the skill level and the gear, needs to go up a little bit before you consistently hit those targets. But with 308, between, let's say, 750 and 800 to 1,000, or maybe slightly beyond that, that's when all this sort of comes into play, where you really start to see these things either play out or fall apart. That's when we start splitting hairs with all these different types of ammunition. One of the things we have on here with the rifle is a level. So basically, if the levels can't do too much to the left, we can have rounds going one way, too much to the right, we have rounds going the other way, even though everything else is just fine. And all these little minute details start to have an effect. And so, once you get down the precision shooting road, you eventually will end up at kind of what I'm looking into right now is what round's going to perform the best out of the particular rifle. So at 600 yards, for example, this thing's almost boring to shoot. Just one after another, just hits steel, no problem. Going out to 800 yards, a little bit more difficult. My wind calls start to become a lot more uncoordinated. And of course, from 800 to 1,000, that's when things get, a lot more interesting, because we're starting to reach the final end threshold of what the 308 is capable of. And so, it's clearly capable of it. I kind of demonstrated that earlier in the video, but nevertheless, like I haven't dove this far into this particular rifle with a particular ammunition yet this far. And that's kind of what I'm filming. And that's what we're doing. And that's kind of the end goal of everything. And what I mean by practical accuracy is I'm basically trying to hit a 10-inch or a 12-inch plate, in between 100 yards all the way out to 1,000 yards. I'm not really trying to group, let's say, bring a 0.7-inch group down to a 0.5-inch group with something like this. It's more of like, quick follow-up shots all the way out. And that's really what we're trying to do here with this. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the initial episode 1 of this video. From here on forward, we're going to be moving out to the 730 and 1,000 yards with some of these rounds here. And we'll just basically be seeing how this thing performs. And it's going to definitely be interesting. Let me know what you guys think about what round you think is going to be performing the best. Personally, me, I have high hopes on the Hunter round and, of course, the Black Hills, but maybe not. We'll have to see how it goes. So anyways, thanks for watching, and stay safe.